This course was followed the next year by Coverdale in the first printed English Bible of 1535, and the English Authorized Bibles. The Great Bible, the Bishops, and the King James all followed the same course. The Catholic English Old Testament of 1610, however, followed the Vulgate arrangement and left them scattered among the books which we include in our Old Testament. It still contains them, but on the Protestant side, both British and American Bible societies, more than 100 years ago, 1827, took a definite stand against their publication, and they have since almost disappeared. Great values reside in the Apocrypha. The prayer of Manasseh is a notable piece of liturgy. I, Maccabees, is of great historical value for its story of Judaism in the 2nd century before Christ, and the heroic days of Judas Maccabeus and his brothers when Pharisaicism had its rise. The additions to Esther impart a religious color to that romantic story. Judith, Susanna, and Tobit, while fascinating pieces of fiction, were meant by their writers to teach important lessons to their contemporaries. Wisdom and Ecclesiasticus are among the masterpieces of the Jewish sages. But to us, this appendix of the Old Testament is important as forming a very necessary link between the Old Testament and the New. And if we had no Old Testament at all, the Apocrypha would still be indispensable to the student of the New Testament, of which it forms the prelude and background. This is why I have prepared an American translation of the Apocrypha to complete our American translation of the Bible and to make its various books more intelligibly accessible to college and university students and to the general reader. The strong contrast they present in sheer moral values to the New Testament is most instructive, and they form an indispensable part of the historic Christian Bible, as it was known in the ancient Greek and Latin churches, in the Reformation and the Renaissance, and in all authorized English Bibles, Catholic and Protestant. The excellent critical Greek text of the Septuagint, recently published at Stuttgart by Alfred Ralphs, has in general been followed in this translation, supplemented, of course, by other studies on the Apocrypha, especially the volumes edited by R.H. Charles at Oxford in 1913. For Second Esdras, for which only a Latin text buttressed by Oriental versions survives. I have made use of the critical labors of Bensley, James, Box, and Violet, the revised version, and the translation of individuals' books by some of the contributors to Charles' volumes, Apocrypha and Pseudepigrapha, and others have greatly helped the translator. In the vexed matter of the numbering of the verses, the King James Bible of 1611 has been followed. The bracketed verse numbers in 2nd Esdras 7:36 through 105, marked in the missing portion discovered by Bensley at Amiens and published in 1875. My brother, Charles T.B. Goodspeed, has very kindly read the translation through in proof. On the whole, the translation of the Apocrypha has been surprisingly neglected. The translators of the Septuagint, Thompson in 1808 and Brenton in 1844, studiously omitted the apocryphal books they encountered in it, and not all of Charles' associates in his impressive volumes made new translations. Single books have here and there been translated from the Greek by individual scholars, but while Bissell ably revised the King James Apocrypha in 1880, I cannot find that the Apocrypha as a whole have been translated into English since Coverdale in 1535 and Gregory Martin in 1582 translated them from the Latin Vulgate. Martin's version remained unpublished until 1610, last page, or that the Greek Apocrypha as a whole. That is, all the books except 2nd Esdras have ever been directly translated from Greek into English. Crazy, huh? Coverdale's translation of the Apocrypha in his Bible of 1535 was made from the Latin Vulgate, with the aid of Pagninius, Latin, and of recent German translations, especially Luther's. Coverdale's Bible became the basis of successive revisions: Matthew, the Great Bible, the Bishops, and the King James. The Geneva Revisers of 1560, however, knew Greek and contributed retranslations from the Greek of 2 of the books along with revisions of the others. Revision of the translation in the light of the Greek continued to some degree in the bishops and the King James Bibles. In the English Revised Version of 1895, 6 more books appeared virtually retranslated from the Greek, and the rest revised. But even in it, 5 books remain revisions. However faithful of Coverdale's translation of the Vulgate, so that our standard versions of the Apocrypha, and aside from Bissell's revision, there are no others, in parentheses, though 3 or 4 times revised, still to a substantial degree, rest ultimately upon the Latin Vulgate. In contrast with them, the translation here presented is, except for the Latin second Esdras, based directly upon Greek text. Edgar J. Goodspeed. Well, hopefully I recorded it. It doesn't show on this thing that I'm recording, so hopefully I am. It's still hot here in New Mexico. I guess that's good, but we still have the bugs and the flies and the mosquitoes, which is not good. So I'll try to do better, be better with dealing with that stuff. But it has gotten cooler at night. I hope it's gotten cooler or more comfortable where you are. And please like, subscribe, and leave a comment. I'm going to try to get back to every day doing 3 videos for each one. It's easy. Fossil, Fine, and Female, and exercise with me, just 10 minutes a day, you'll feel better. Hopefully you'll join me there too. And until then, God bless and goodbye.